notion that Dave Dombrowski did reach out to Alex Cora after Alex Cora got let go. Now, that was a couple days before they pulled the trigger and pulled the rug out from underneath Rob Thompson. But Rob Thompson didn't have a problem with it, and I don't either. I think that if you've made the decision that you're going to make a move, you've got to then get your ducks in a row. And what you didn't want to do was name Don Mattingly interim manager, and then 2 days later bring in Alex Cora as the manager. You needed to find out ahead of time about the Cora situation. So if you're going to make a move, you'd be making one move, not multiple moves with the manager's role. And so it's unfortunate that you're going to make a change, but I think that Dave Dombrowski, timing-wise, did the right thing by reaching out that way. And I think that at some point Alex Cora will be back in a dugout managing, but he's got the ability now to take care of himself and his family. Sure. And he had a 3-year deal. It's like a year and a quarter into the 3-year deal. And he has that ability now to go home and then re-engage at the end of the year with somebody new moving forward if he wants to, or wait another year if he wants to. There will always be a job for him moving forward. The Phillies, I feel like, Chris, that what happens in these situations is that the players are so in their own heads with beating themselves up. They're struggling. They're trying too hard. That now when something else happens and all eyes shift from the players to something else, even though it's a managerial firing, for a period of time, the players are like, okay, nobody's looking at us now. They're looking at this. Right. This happened on the side of the road. Everybody's paying attention to it. And now they can get out and play and maybe take a deep breath. And there's a different level of inspiration. I think the Phillies have a chance to bounce back with Wheeler back there. I asked the question about most important hitter and position player. I think it's Bryce Harper on the position player side, and I think it's Wheeler on the pitching side for me. I think Harper needs to take it to another level, and I know he's trying so hard to do that right now. Right. He needs to try less and play better, not try more.
That's fair, and a lot easier said than done, right? Because you are the face of the franchise now, so you're taking all of this on you from a personal standpoint. So I understand that, and yeah, I think Bryce Harper is a very important piece to this. We all know what Zach Wheeler is capable of, and it was great to see him make that first start. And you're like, okay, this is a little better than I think everybody anticipated. So to me, there's room to grow for the Phillies, to say the least. I still think they're one of the best two teams in that division.
Yeah. All right. So coming up, Cubs, Padres, good matchup out at Petco Park. Two teams playing some good baseball, but some interesting health issues regarding these teams. We'll talk about that and more next. Leadoff spot, MLB Network Radio and live on TV. On MLB Network Radio and now live on MLB Network TV as well. Chris Jimenez is in the house today. Steve Phillips here with you as well. We're certainly glad to have all of you on board. We always kick off the 9 o'clock Eastern time hour by taking you around the bases. And so we do that starting with the single. And the Kansas City Royals and the Athletics played a game going to extra innings, tied at 1. And it was the young superstar for the Royals who came through in the clutch.
Playing the game we love and enjoying it every moment.
Well, that was Royals Radio, and then Bobby Witt Jr. himself, you heard there, talking about some cliches, I might say. I just hope this home run is what gets Bobby Witt going this year. He was the #1 pick in the fantasy draft for the MLB Network Radio Fantasy League. Yours truly picked him, so I need him to really start to play like the MVP caliber player that he really is. And obviously I kid by saying that, but you really hope that an opposite field homer, which by the way, if this thing is 2 feet over to the left, it's probably a double off the wall. They're playing significantly better baseball, winners of 4 in a row, starting to, hit that trend. Their pitching's been a lot better, but you hope this is that one big swing that you kind of need at a certain point during the season to maybe have your team turn that corner a little bit.
Yeah, the Royals needed some momentum. They needed to get something going. And now 4 games in a row. That's gotten them to 12-17, but it also tells you where they started from at 8-17. But Bobby Witt Jr. now his second home run, and he looks like he's starting to get into a rhythm. He prances around the bases when he homers.
That's what happens when you're fast.
He's got,
I'm not
it's like he tiptoes around the bases with it. Now, Salvador Perez, who nobody has ever accused of prancing, he homered earlier in the game as as well. And I think his 305th career home run for him as he's continuing to put together a Hall of Fame career. But he had tied the game at 1, and then it wasn't until that 10th inning that they break it open. But a good win there for the Kansas City Royals as they, look to try to get back in that tough AL Central race. All right, we round first, go to second with a double. Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Guardians, your Cleveland Guardians, oh, by the way. But friend of the show, Nick Martinez, was outstanding on the mound for Tampa Bay.
He earned every inning because every inning it felt like he was under 10 pitches.
Well, that was Kevin Cash talking about Nick Martinez, who, by the way, was extremely efficient last night. 78 pitches pitched into the 8th inning, ultimately was ended up taken out of the game. We're going to get to Kevin Cash here in just a second. But what I saw to Nick Martinez yesterday in particular was the changeup usage. It's no secret that the Guardians have significantly struggled from right-handed changeups this year. He used it to perfection. He had the cutter going on the inner third. He had the four-seamer working like up and in to keep these guys standing up. Nick Martinez was on it yesterday, and he was cruising. I think he had 5 innings of the 7 he pitched were single-digit pitch innings, which is hard to do, number one, but very, very impressive. And it just shows you he was in full command last night. And the Rays got one big hit off of a walk. Tanner Bybee, by the way, who has been really, really good this year. Don't let the face value numbers fool you. He's had 5 starts this year where he's given up 2 or fewer runs. The Guardians have lost all 5 of those starts. They have really struggled for whatever reason anytime Tanner is on the mound to produce runs for him. And it's unfortunate because Tanner's getting, tons of losses out of this. And I know that's not really the most important stat that we're talking about here. But with that being said, it's never fun, to lose games like that when you feel like you've pitched really well. But I want to get to this Kevin Cash thing. Cashy's one of the best in the business. We all know that. He is now the most hated man in Cleveland because Travis Massana made his Major League debut yesterday, the first overall pick in the 2024 draft. A lot has been made about him. Came up in the 9th inning with the tying run at second base and 2 outs, and he got to a 2-0 count and decided to walk Massana, much to the ilk. I used that word for you right there, Steve. Much to the ilk of the Cleveland fan base.
Yeah, and they were not happy. They wanted their guy to have a moment. It was the right baseball move to be able to make right there in a 1-0 game. I mean, this was some kind of game. Jonathan Randa driving in the only run of the game, who I like so much, by the way. What a great offensive approach he has. But a pitcher's duel lasted about 2.5 hours yesterday. Cashy's going to have to be careful going to the ballpark right now. People are very upset there with it. All right, by the way, I got a text message. Somebody's asking me, Chris, whether you're working for CSI and that's like you're going to go into a crime scene with that jacket on. You're going to put the hood on and go in there and try to,
this is my
take your
Patriot
black light
gear
with you.
I'm gonna give a quick pub real quick. My Patriot Gear sweatshirt. It turns out that it's April 29th and it's still in the low 30s here in Reno, Nevada. So it's freezing cold in my spare bedroom / office where we get to do all of our radio and TV shows from. So yeah, I go comfort over style any day of the week.
Do they have heat in Nevada? Just curious, asking for a friend.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like that weird time of the year. It's that weird time of the year where, the heater's not really kicking. I mean, I guess it technically kicked on last night because it was 31 degrees when I got in here this morning. Not in this room, but outside. And, I got a bunch of windows right here. Like, it's comfort over style. I like this sweatshirt. I don't look as good as you, however, and I'm fully okay with that.
I mean, you could turn and set the heat on 67, and get warm up a little bit there.
You're right.
All right,
Yeah,
we round second, go to third of the triple. Yankees and Rangers, and Clay Schlittler and Cam Schlittler and the Yankees dominated the Texas. It's his evil twin brother. But Cam Schlittler and the Yankees dominated the Rangers yesterday.
Skinny guys that throw really freaking hard. You saw that in spades last night. Cam was fantastic. He maybe threw 6 innings, just 3 hits allowed. He's been really good this year in a Yankee rotation that is only going to get better here in the next few weeks. Is Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, don the uniform for the first time this year. the Yankees are kind of clicking right now. I mean, they're a really good baseball team. I think we all knew that. Cody Bellinger just missed a home run literally by inches yesterday as it hit off the yellow line off the top of the fence, but he's been a great bring back for them. You know, Aaron Judge is starting to be or do Aaron Judge things. They're starting to get offensive production from multiple people in this lineup, but the bullpen's really good and the starting rotation's even better. So I think the sky's the limit really for the Yankees this year.
Yeah, you know, Jacob deGrom, for some reason in his career, does not inspire the offense on the teams that he's on. It just seems like he always pitches great and never gets run support. I mean, I don't. And part of it is,
dude, he's going to give up a run.
Yeah, you know what it is. In some way, it's that you actually get caught up in watching him do his thing. That I think it takes hitters out of their game. It's been that way. Like when he was a Met, think about how many great games he pitched in and yet they never would score the point because they didn't get any offense for him. And so tough loss yesterday there for deGrom and the Rangers. And for the Yankees, they continue to roll right now. I mean, they are playing some really good baseball. Judge is so locked in at the plate, and he just keeps on going. All right, so we round third and head home with the home run. The big story of the day, it broke right after our show. We went off the air yesterday, and that's Philadelphia Phillies firing Rob Thompson and bringing in Don Mattingly as the interim manager.
The Phillies have fired manager Rob Thompson. Don Mattingly will be the interim manager, which means that he will be working for his son, Preston. Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations, making the announcement, but Rob Thompson out in Philadelphia.
99% mẹ sinh mổ công nhận áp tạm hiệu kiết với symbiotic đặc chế và các dưỡng chất hỗ trợ.
This has been speculated a lot over the last, I would say, 96 hours, in large part because Dave Dombrowski was the president of baseball operations for the Boston Red Sox when Alex Cora was the manager there, and they won the World Series.
Rob Thompson getting fired, I mean, unfortunately, this is not a huge surprise the way they've gotten out to this kind of start. I think Dave Dombrowski had tried to dampen the fire that was surrounding him over like 2 weeks ago, but it hasn't gotten a whole lot better. And Rob Thompson has had an incredible career. He almost retired before he got this job. So for him to be able to manage in this position and have success in getting him to the postseason every single year, that's been pretty darn impressive.
Well, that was Mike Fair and Jim Duquette on Power Alley yesterday, just mere minutes after this show ended, that news kind of broke and hit the social media platforms and whatnot. And again, as a former, you never want to see somebody lose their job. You know how important Rob Thompson is to that organization, to that clubhouse, how much the guys in the clubhouse endure to him. And I think there's nothing about this that's fun, right? It sucks. It sucks on so many different levels because, now somebody's without a job who, is very respected in the game. And I think handled this situation with the most class humanly possible. It would be very easy for anybody in this situation to immediately have shots fired on the organization, right? Like blaming everybody else. That's not what you saw in either one of these cases. Alex Cora with the Red Sox or now Rob Thompson with the Philadelphia Phillies, which again shows what kind of a professional, that these two guys are in particular. But it had to happen, and with Alex Cora being let go just a few days before this, I think it put even more pressure on this situation to potentially find or come to a head. And it stinks to me that, and this isn't a knock on anybody in this situation, but when you fire your manager, it's a shock to the system, right? In the clubhouse, now these guys go out and Jesus Luzardo goes 7 innings, the first time a Philly starter has gotten into the 7th inning this year, and punches out a few guys. They drop an 8 spot. It looked like the Philly team that we kind of become accustomed to them looking like, and that was without Rob Thompson. You don't want to see that necessarily, and it's like, okay, we got this guy out of here, now we can play baseball, but I think it was a definite shock to the system, and it's good to see at least these guys bounce back like that.
Yeah, you think about it. Trey Turner gets 4 hits in the game yesterday. Luzardo goes 7 innings. Bryce Harper, Adolis Garcia, and Alec Bohm all hit doubles in the game yesterday. And that's kind of the way they were built. Right? That's their formula right there. starting pitching that goes deeper in the game than most other teams because Rob Thompson trusted his starters. And then you've got the big power bats and the table setters and getting it done. And they do go on to win 7-0 yesterday over the Giants. And so, and for Don Mattingly, the whole idea of him taking the job when and for Rob Thompson responding to the